On the 29th, we got Layla James. On the 30th, we have Ryan Cohen. And on September 5th, we have Tristan Stone. Now that we're done putting ourselves over, it was a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with the news. Not a great day for Cash Wheeler as he was arrested, I believe, yesterday for aggravated assault. Did you happen to check this out, Kalito?
I mean, I checked the headline. Aggravated assault. It's one of those things. It's like, okay, was it in retaliation? This is where it's just like, okay, I gotta sit back and get the story straight and see what the whole thing is. Because was he defending himself? Was he just the person that got caught? Was it, you know, it's one of those things where it's kind of like he probably just his emotions got the best of him. Probably wish he could have took it back, but hell, he was the one in the jail cell. So
That's correct. And, for Cash's sake, I hope that this is just, a misunderstanding and that the guy that is alleging these things is maybe, you know, trying to get something out of it because having met Cash and knowing a lot of people that have met Cash in the past, he's a hell of a nice guy. And this
right, so
seems like so out of character for him.
right, and that's what I'm saying. Like it could be just something where everybody's got a limit. You just gotta everybody's a killer, and you gotta push them to the limit. Everybody's got a limit, and maybe it was just the wrong day, wrong time, or maybe nothing at all, and the guy's just blowing it up. I mean that. So I mean, nowadays more people want to be known for getting ass whooped by somebody than actually, showing love because it's easy. And I can't believe I'm phrasing CM Punk here. It's easy when people show you love, and you kind of be faceless in that manner unless you just uberly stick out, right?
Yeah.
But it's easy to be the motherfucker that fucks around and finds it out. Excuse my French. But could be one of those.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting prospect as Elvis was the one that caught him. So, yeah, if you don't believe me, Google that because Elvis Presley
Read
has
it.
arrested Cash Wheeler.
Yeah, I mean, it's public record, so
Yeah,
it's not that hard to find.
yeah. Man came from the grave in order to arrest Cash Wheeler.
Rolled his ass from Graceland to catch Wheeler.
Um, we're talking about Cash Wheeler. Maybe he did something, maybe he didn't. Um, to somebody that definitely did a lot of bad shit. Sunny. Um,
Oh, how
she
come I knew this was coming?
she's facing 25 years in prison for killing somebody last March in a drunk driver hit and run thing. Um, the thing of it is, I feel like if you don't try and change your ways after you hurt somebody, especially killing somebody, that I'm all for a good redemption story, but it doesn't look like she's looking for any redemption. You know what I mean?
Well, the question is, but the problem is that this is a lady that got so many close calls based because she looked good and she never learned the lesson. But now it got her ass. Plain and simple.
I mean,
That's pretty plain and simple.
one thing to hurt yourself, but once you're starting to hurt others, don't you have to kind of look yourself in the mirror and say, "What the hell am I doing?"
I'm just trying to figure out, like, granted, I get like wrestlers are people too, but she seemed like the type of person she could call anybody and get a motherfucker to give her a ride home, right? Like it takes nothing to call a cab. Honestly, in this day and age, I kind of have this hardline stance on drunk driving because there's no excuse for you to not to do it. There's no excuse for you to do it. You can Uber, Lyft, taxi, bus. There's so many modes that you can get home. And that's where it's like, I don't want to waste all the money for an Uber. I'd rather spend $200 on an Uber ride than 10 grand having to deal with all that shit and jail time.
Well, and I
But no
mean,
one thinks about that cost.
the same
But
coming
son,
from continue.
this is Sunny. Yeah. And like I said, it's Sunny. Someone who's probably got more chances than afforded. Can we admit that much?
Oh yeah,
And it's just got her this time.
well, we will see what happens there. It does look like she's out of lives at this point.
No, she's dangling on that last one,
Yeah,
and more than likely, it's gonna be some jail time.
somebody that actually got free this week, Lacy Evans leaves WWE.
Ooh,
Um,
nice segue.
Thank you. I believe that it wasn't. She didn't get out of her contract. She just waited until it expired and then just didn't renew. Which is the best way to do it, I suppose.
The only way to do it, because she's a Marine, and Marines are professionals. Hoorah.
I think this is a good thing to ask. What went wrong with Lacey Evans?
What was wrong with Lacey Evans?
What went wrong? Because
What went wrong? The Ric Flair got me pregnant angle fucked it all up. Because honestly, that Southern Belle shit was hot. It was.
I agree.
And then they tried to bring her back as something else. And then they tried to bring her back as something else. And then they rebooted it. Like, that's where it fucked up. Like, when they said Ric Flair got her pregnant, it was like, oh shit, there's that. Of all people to say that she's pregnant by.
Well, I mean, before that, she was in an interesting rivalry with Charlotte Flair, and
Yes!
life just kind of happened.
Yes!
As it does. And it just seems after that, she never recovered. It was, oh, well, she had a really hot life. Let's tell people about it. Make her a baby face. And then, oh, no, the, let's say that she's just a bad guy and that she hates you again. She's going to be a heel again. Okay, now well, she's going to be a drill sergeant. Now she's going to be a good drill sergeant. Now she's Sergeant Slaughter's daughter. And that's in the span of maybe like 6 weeks. She was
Right.
flip
And,
flopping gimmicks.
mm-hmm.
And how are we supposed to care about this girl if we don't know who the fuck she is?
I think that was the problem. The one thing that the Southern Belle gimmick was really, really good.
Yes.
What pisses me off is that they did the Ric Flair angle and Becky, like when Becky said she was pregnant, no one came out and said that she was pregnant by blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Seth Rollins didn't come
Now,
on the stage and start laughing.
right. So, but then when she came back, they could have just brought her back as a female sergeant. Like, I think that if they had did it in the aggregate in the first, like personally, I think she probably would have. Here's the thing: if they were really gonna make her a heel, she would have came back and maybe they could have got her heat with like how Sergeant Slaughter went with Iraq in '92. Maybe they could have did that with her going with Russia when they invaded Ukraine, or they could have just flipped it and made her a face, being like that sergeant for freedom in Ukraine. You know what I mean? Zeb Coulter, where the fuck is he? He ain't doing shit. Or Dutchman, tell me that. But he ain't doing nothing. So you know what I mean? You
Right.
could have got a mouthpiece for her or something. But I just think it's just the case of they they swapped her so many times that we couldn't even keep up with her identity.
Right.
And that's where it's bad. And it's not, and that to me is no fault of her own. Because to me, I think she was, as a heel, like, God, dude, she was pretty good. She was really good.
I think the lady gimmick, the Southern Belle, whatever you want to call it, you could you could you know inspect it and analyze it and at least put a you could find her in the dictionary of wasted potential because
It was.
that could have been a major gimmick and storyline for many years to come. And she could
It,
have been in the runnings with Becky, Charlotte, Asuka, in that gimmick as the lady, go pushing it forward, going harder with it, but it just never manifested. And like you said, it got her. She got kind of caught in the middle with it.
pretty much. I mean, because especially considering how she was. Now, the one thing I didn't like about it is that they tried to make her more risque burlesque with it, kind of like pinup girl, rather than being like, because I think the heel work that she was doing when she was more conservative in her mind frame was actually the right move. Because all you nasties trying to touch me, and you know what I mean.
Right.
So it worked, but I mean, I met her before. She's such a sweet person. Plus, she's a Marine, so we always that's the homie. That's my sister in arms. So
Well, sister in arms or not, do you think that maybe her outlook on life, kind of outside of the ring, maybe put her in some hot water with WWE? She's been somewhat outspoken of saying that people with autism is a myth and depression is a myth and liking posts and reposting things of that nature.
I mean, if that was the case, they would have kicked her a long time ago.
They would have outright fired her.
Right. Because remember, this is the same company that fired a lady for allegedly shoplifting at Walmart, only to find out she wasn't shoplifting at Walmart. Then they brought her back, and then they just fired her again.
I remember she getting fired for it. I just remember. I think she got suspended at least.
No, the remember she got fired. Then they brought her back. I remember that story. Emma, man, did her dirty.
Well, somebody else's contract is expiring soon, and that's Edge. His last official match for WWE is the one against Sheamus, I believe, yesterday. Um, and as of this recording, he has not signed a new contract. People think that he might be going to AEW. I think that's fucking insane if I'm being
Stupid.
honest.
That's stupid. Because why would he go? It makes no sense for him to go. What is he going to achieve there that he hasn't achieved in WWE?
Exactly. If the match with Sheamus is his last match, and he just ups and retires, good way to retire? Question mark?
Uh, I remember he had that video saying that he wanted to win the world title before he retired. But hey, not everybody can go out on a good note, right?
I mean, it's kind of like a full circle moment. It started with Sheamus, it ends with Sheamus, in a way.
So that's how it usually goes.
Kalika, you're going out. You're like really far away. Kalika, you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
There you go. So,
Oh, what was the last you heard?
the last thing I heard was me saying that, full circle moment against Sheamus. Good. You ready to retire?
True. But I mean, it's he just not everybody can go out on a good note. He's still a legend. He's done so much, and I mean, guy's a good one. He's a good one. So he came back. I think the biggest thing was for him to come back and end it on his terms. That probably meant more to him than anything.
Right. I mean, I would personally feel maybe a WrestleMania match would be a way to go out, especially coming up on 40. Um, but and considering what a clusterfuck his last WrestleMania match was at 39,
It
um,
wasn't really a clusterfuck more so than it. That storyline was so long, and it wouldn't have mattered had Finn beat Edge a couple of times, that we might have had invested in it. But that's no fault of Edge. I mean, fault of booking.
I mean, it was just a bad spot that went wrong, and that kind of derailed the whole match.
Right. But
Right. Um, a little bit more news. Last Saturday, CM Punk decided to take the mic and take a shot at Hangman Page in front of the crowd. Um, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically he said that he went to the supermarket and he found out that why they call him Hangman Page is because the peg that holds all of the Hangman action figures is full. Um, because he's just hanging on the shelf while CM Punk is popping ratings, selling merchandise, and selling action figures. Um, my big thing about this was he asked about Darby Allen in that supermarket.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe Darby Allen owes CM Punk money.
He's okay with I think he's cool with Darby because Darby's on Saturday, and as we'll get into it, not everybody's allowed on a Saturday night to be on Collision.
Well, it's the line in the sand. I feel like Wednesday and Saturday. You either Wednesday to Saturday.
It was uh it was reported, rumor many them know if you believe it, that CM Punk did text message Hangman Page and apologized for his comments.
I
However,
mean, eh, just I take it as a grain of salt.
reveal the text messages.
Receipts.
Show us the receipts. I
You
mean,
really think they're gonna show receipts? I'm still waiting on somebody had to record that fight, and nobody has came up with the tape. That's the receipt I'm looking for.
you could just make the argument he was just in a bad mood that night, kind of took it out on Hangman because there was a Hangman sign in the crowd. Um, that being said, there was an altercation with CM Punk and Brother Ziggler, Ryan Nemeth, in the back, where he told him, "Do we have a problem?" And then Nemeth was sent home. What What are your thoughts on all of this?
It's just a mess. I mean, but it's its own. AEW's got their own civil war going on, and it's like, I mean, you're either with Punk or the Bucks, or you just the dude that was like, I'm just here to watch some wrestling.
And
But
if something actually came out of this productive, because nobody is not clamoring for a CM Punk FTR versus Elite match. That's what everybody wants. And if we
oh no,
get
no, no! Everybody wants them to fight for real. See, that's the everybody wants them to fight for real, for real. Well, Punk and the Bucks might fight for real. Punk and Kenny might fight for real. All four of them might fight each other for real. FTR is a lot. like, like, man, we just trying. Hey,
well, if they're gonna fight for real, put in a fucking ring and sell tickets for it. Like that that Wembley show is something to sneeze at. Honestly, 80,000 people and it's an average episode of Dynamite.
but it's Wembley.
It's
It
Wembley, but
beat SummerSlam's record in '92. Even though
it's Wembley.
WWE was there and that shit was hot for Money in the Bank.
It just seems, and apparently Christopher Daniels and Matt Hardy isn't allowed on Saturdays. This is such. This seems so convoluted and stupid. Honestly, it's like literally they gave CM Punk his own show so he could perform in top ratings and keep them happy, while they do the other show that's not doing so great because it doesn't have CM Punk on it. It's just so stupid to me.
It's only stupid to us because it doesn't make sense. But then again, I mean, think about it this way. Tony Khan is not going to let CM Punk walk
No,
without a return on his goddamn investment. Because at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure it took some fucking cash to get that motherfucker there. Or to get Punk there. So you gotta ride it. Good, bad, or indifferent. Now that in turn makes the Bucks, but the Bucks and Kenny feel some type of way, but that's just how it is. And the fact that they won't work together, maybe it was best for them to split apart because it seems like no matter what, Punk is not gonna stop his truth from being told
but
or stop his version and his perspective. And it seems like the Bucks are not gonna stop. their perspective, even though they haven't said anything.
It doesn't seem like they
But the
are.
fact that they all resigned when they easily could have left says something. You know that they're not going out in the wind.
I think that speaks more towards Tony Khan not wanting them to leave more than them staying. Because
Because you can't make a motherfucker stay. You can't make nobody stay.
if you throw a shitload of money at them,
And what is a shitload of money to the Bucks?
from what I heard, what rumor and innuendo, it was NBA type money.
But like, define NBA money. Because NBA money, the veteran minimum is 5 mil. So are we talking like uh max like Jalen Brown 300 mil territory, or are we talking a NBA vet minimum?
I have no idea.
Because because if it's just the 5 year three and some change, yeah, they'll stay. But if it's like 5 years, 3 years 12, eh, see that's the only reason I ask because I know the NBA. I know NBA money. I'm like, what, like 6 figures? Like 7 figures? Or not even 7 figures, like 9 figures.
Well,
9 figures to 8 figures?
continuing on the
But
CM Punk path of destruction, um, Ring of Honor is doing Death Before Dishonor. Maybe it was last week. Maybe it's this week. I have no idea. I don't follow Ring of Honor. But the T-shirts that were printed, there was an error on them. CM Punk took to social media to take a shot at that. And who is in charge of the merchandise in AEW? None other than Dana Buck, Matt Jackson's wife. Um, People are saying that he took a shot at Matt's wife in order to get at the Bucks. Um, yes, no, or are people just making more about this than it actually is? I.e., Dave Meltzer.
there we go. Now you said who was in charge? You left me on a cliffhanger.
Dana Jackson, Matt Jackson's wife.
Oh Lord. Okay.
People believe that there was a shot at Matt's wife in order to get to the
No,
Bucks. It could just be Dave Meltzer spreading rumors for the Young Bucks because we all know that he's in their back pocket. There's not a lot of spoiler sheets that like CM Punk at this point.
over, over, overthinking. Next.
Alright. Do you think that this is just going to go to the point where one of them is going to leave and then we're going to find out what happens? Or do you think that we're actually going to get a payoff for this?
There's not gonna be no payoff because they're not gonna touch each other. It's kind of like Britt and Rosa. They'll work in the same company. That don't mean that they have to be in the same room.
Alright.
So that's where it's gonna be a big difference. Like they didn't put them both away.
Alright. Well, I think that will do it for news for now. And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.